Hi, this is the Clive Barker Podcast, episode 31, Past, Present, and Future of Nightbreed with Michael Plumides. So, Michael Plumides is a consultant to Morgan Creek. He's also an author, producer, screenwriter, and for Morgan Creek, he's an analyst. So this was a really fun and informative episode to do. Michael shared a lot of stuff with us, including some tidbits about the Nightbreed TV show that people didn't know before. So that's pretty cool, and he talks about the role of 20th Century Fox and Morgan Creek and what happened with the theatrical cut of the movie. He talked about the infamous thing that happened at his nightclub at GWAR with GWAR that happened, that's precipitated the events of the movie Phallus in Wonderland that GWAR did. So if you're familiar with that, that's pretty cool. And so there's some other cool stuff that we didn't get a chance to talk about, but he did an interview with Jeff Bridges fairly recently, and that's on his blog. So anyway, this is episode 31 of the Clive Barker Podcast with José Leitao, and I'm Ryan Danhauser, and enjoy. This is the episode 31 of the Clive Barker Podcast with Michael. Is it Plumides? Plumides, okay.
Actually, the Greek pronunciation is Plumides.
Ah.
And so we just say it with a southern accent. Plumides. Yeah.
And you're an author, producer, screenwriter, analyst, and consultant for Morgan Creek.
That's correct.
And so, as an author, you wrote a book called Kill the Music in 2009, right? 2009,
that's correct. Well, yeah, I wrote it in 2000. Actually, I started writing. I mean, if you had a question about it, just go ahead and continue your question. But yeah, it was published in 2009. But I started writing back when MySpace was in its heyday. I was writing, some of these ideas that I had. They were basically short stories about some of my experiences in owning a nightclub and in rock and roll and college radio, and I had my experience in college radio, and I owned a nightclub. Had written some short stories on MySpace, and I had this kind of like deeply disturbed following, like 100 reads, of the stories or so every time I posted one. So I just, I thought, well, maybe I'll take some of these and I'll kind of weave them together and maybe write a book. I was originally going to call the book, I think, The Day the Music Died, but I didn't, I had no connection to that song. So, I didn't want it to sound like it was some 60s opus, I was trying to think of some kind of clever name, that kind of makes a statement about, censorship. And incidentally, the nightclub that I opened in 1988 was closed in 1990 after the infamous GWAR show of September of 1990 that made national headlines. Yeah.
Can you remind us what happened there?
I had. It was a tumultuous time for music in the 80s, coming out of the Reagan administration. Mm-hmm. You had the Parent Music Resource Center, and you had the music ratings hearings in the like 85, 86, 87. Then there was the whole federal funding for the arts, the John Mapplethorpe, incident where they shut down an art gallery that had a picture of. It was featuring some portraits or photography by John Mapplethorpe, and he had a bullwhip shoved up his rectum in one of the photographs.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and so you had, and Jesse Helms was from North Carolina. Fritz Hollings from South Carolina. I went to the University of South Carolina. So there was this unholy triumvirate between Fritz Hollings, the senator from South Carolina, Jesse Helms from North Carolina, and the PMRC, the Parrot Music Resource Center, all kind of working in cohesion to, basically censor music. And I think there was also Two Live Crew at the time. Two Live Crew, nasty as they want to be, was out. They had arrested a record store owner that was selling the record in Florida.
Jeez.
Wasn't there some kind of controversy with Al Gore's wife?
Tipper Gore. Yeah, they really what was it. The thing is people love to remind me that it was a Democrat's wife that was spearheading the Parent Music Resource Center, because I'm a Democrat. But it was to go, hey man, that wasn't Republicans. That was,
Yeah.
But anyway, So kind of like during all of that, GWAR plays at my club probably a week or two or three after they had arrested the store owner in Florida for Two Live Crew, selling the Two Live Crew album. And it seemed like in Charlotte, every time there was there was some kind of incident, Charlotte, they wanted to have their own, incident. And I saw something that happened recently. I was closed down one time. I was 25 years old at the time, 24 years old, and I was owning a nightclub. And the Vice Squad came in undercover after they read in Creative Loafing. Creative Loafing is a alternative weekly here. Back then it was about 12 pages, but they had written it up as the gig of the week, and I think the tip-off supposedly was, if you remember the last area GWAR performances, 9-foot penises spewed and the slaves drank. that was the thing. And so
sounds like one hell of a concert.
It's not. It's not really 9 foot. That's an exaggeration, but.
Yeah, I'd say the Cuttlefish of Cthulhu is probably about 2.5 foot.
Yeah.
2.5 feet.
Yeah.
But they came in after. I remember when the two vice cops came in, because they always have mustaches. I don't know what it is about cops. They got mustaches. and these two guys came in with cameras. They came in with these big Nikons with the around their necks. And they came in and they were laughing and whatever. And I kind of looked at the guys and I go, I don't know, maybe they're Alice Cooper fans or something. At least I thought that they might. I was thinking maybe they're, that this is just, maybe it's, because they looked a little out of place.
Yeah.
And they ended up being the guys that came in and were taking pictures of the show and what have you. And then after the show is when the club was raided, and there were all the, it was easily 30 policemen, some were in riot gear.
So is this what Phallus in Wonderland was based off of?
This is what Phallus in Wonderland was based on.
Wow,
Absolutely.
That's really interesting. I'm a pretty big GWAR fan. I've flown out to see him in New Orleans and California and Seattle. Yeah. Well, Dave Brock. So then you're familiar with the mythos. Well, yeah.
I mean, there really was a Judge Richard Boner, Dick Boner.
Seriously? I thought they were just making fun of the judge. I didn't know that was his name.
That was the guy's name.
Oh my God.
And I mean, and they basically, it's funny because I read. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, then they confiscated the Cuttlefish of Cthulhu.
They did. They matter of fact. So when they came. There was I was in the office. And had all the door money all spread out on the table, on my desk, and there was a beat on the door, and I was just the whole night. I was just begging for it to be over. I just wanted it to be over. Get this band out of here, and let me go home.
Yeah.
And it was really at a time where I was really struggling. I had just moved from the old location. We actually had been shut down after an LA gun show for fire code violations because we only had one exit, and they said that there was more than 150 people in there. So anyway, so then it was, after the fire code thing, I had to move from there to a new location. And that's when I'm spent, I don't know, like we spent about $60,000 trying to get open up, and with the building standards was all over us, and it was just really, and it made the news that we had been shut down, and so anyway, but we've been voted best new club and best college bar, and all of this for 2 years in a row, and so I felt that I wasn't just going to let it die after we got shut down the first time, so. I moved to the other location, and this GWAR show was going to be the show that bailed me out. Because I was so in the I was just, I was hiding I was behind in my car payment. And I had my car, I hid in the woods. With the work, just like this, really. Like I said, I use the word tumultuous. I don't know what a better way to describe it, but it was, I was just basically, living off of door receipts and just trying to get off the ground. And so when we had the GWAR show, and then it gets busted, and then these cops in there in riot gear, they come in and the alcohol law enforcement is beating on the office door, and they come in, they put me in handcuffs, they take me back. Stage says, take us backstage so we can arrest that singer, and the priest, he was a fucking in the ass.
Oh my God.
So I take him back there, and Dave Brockie, odorous rugged, he had taken the big shoulder pads off and his mask and everything, but he still had the cuttlefish of Cthulhu and the big monster feet and the fishnet stockings on. And I took him back in the dressing room, which was adjoined to the office. And so I walk in there, and the cops say, which one of y'all is the lead singer? And Dave Brockie turns around and he goes, I'm the lead slave. And so they said that he was under arrest. And he said, can you wait a minute so I can get my costume off? And Daniel Sellers says, the chief, law enforcement officer there, he says, yeah, go ahead, boy, whatever. And Dave turns around and is like bare butt cheeks and just like leans over to take the feet off and in his tee back. He's wearing, a tee back or a thong with his butt cheeks hanging out with a bloody handprint on one ass cheek. and he leans over to take the feet off, and Sellers says, I could have gone all night without seeing that. He just like points his ass to him as he's taking the shoes, the feet off. So they escort us out into the into the front, and there's a column of police cars and a helicopter with a light down, a police helicopter with a light down on it, and people are pushing up against the police cars, and they're hitting people with nightsticks and arresting people, and they're shoving us in the police car. I mean, there's something straight out of a Hollywood movie, really.
They were hitting people with nightsticks?
Yes. Arrested a guy. Have you ever heard of a band called Buzz Oven?
Yeah, oh yeah.
They arrested Kirk Fisher. He was the singer from the bass player singer from Buzz Oven. Arrested him.
Yeah, I've seen them open for GWAR before.
Yeah. So they kind of muscle us into the squad car and they're taking us over to the police station. It's me and Dave, and the police, and Dave goes, "What am I charged with?"
Yeah.
And the police officer pulls out a little scratch, like one of those little spiral, pads, you stick in your pocket, like from mead. He turns it over and he goes, and he's reading, because he had scribbled what he was going to charge him with. He scribbled it down, and he goes, "You have been charged with felony disseminating obscenity. For more felony disseminating obscenity charges by North Carolina law, more specifically for simulated ejaculation with 2.5-foot latex penis, simulating sodomy and eating feces." Dave Brockie pondered it for a second. He says, "You mean you can't do that in North Carolina?" But I read in a recent interview that Dave said that we were trying to incite, law enforcement. That how can you have a band like GWAR and not be offensive, and not do that? And he had never admitted that they until here, just 20 years later. I just read in that interview that he said that as a matter of fact, Creative Loafing had written it up last year, and still do. The most, whenever they have an issue, the most infamous Charlotte moments or whatever, it always makes the list. It always makes the list. But anyway, the book, I enjoyed something writing with the book when it first came out. I jumped. I really wanted to get into screenwriting and that sort of thing, and I had actually written a screen play for Kill the Music before I'd written the book.
Oh.
Then I went and wrote the book from the screenplay, and then I went back and rewrote the screenplay after I wrote the book. So that's something that actually that Danny McBride actually has a copy of the script right now, and we're waiting for him to read it someday. But he's a friend of a friend that gave that to him. But I don't know if anything will come of it. I'd love to make it. I think it's a great epic story. It follows 2 years of my life. It's got all the and when I wrote it, I was kind of thinking somewhere along the lines of Animal House meets The Big Lebowski, meets Almost Famous, kind of
That's cool.
thing.
So you're friends with Dave Brockie now?
The thing is up until the time that I met Dave, which was really the only other conversation I'd ever had with him, was in an 8x10 holding cell, and it was me and him and this vagrant that had defecated down his pants legs.
Oh.
It's like we're in this cell with this guy that had crapped himself. It was just miserable. It was just but because and I write for blurt-online.com, and they had it in their second print. It was originally a much lauded magazine called Heart Magazine, and then they kind of went online and changed it to blurt-online.com, which is out of North Carolina, but is well respected in the college radio realm and that sort of thing. And so I write, occasionally write, if I want to go see a show, or I covered Bonnaroo, and I wrote something. I covered the DNC for them. I'll go and see an Alice in Chains show, or go see GWAR, or Social Distortion, or Foo Fighters, or whoever, and then I'll Wolf Mother. I've written the Motorhead. I go and write up Joe, but Blurt actually in the second print issue in a article called What Price, Blood and Guts was an excerpt from Kill the Music, and that came out in early 2010.
Oh, cool.
But anyway, it's music writing. It's just something that I know about. And I'm kind of an insider, and so it's something that I still do. But I recently wrote in October when Ghost Trek ended up going up on Dread Central. I wrote an article called "My Symbiotic Relationship with GWAR."
Yeah.
And it basically, it kind of spans my relationship with Dave Brockie. He invited me to Richmond. He always comes into town, and he asked me to help him on some project, etc. And then he goes on tour, and then I don't hear from him. I'll text him back and forth. He'll take promo pictures with me. We'll do all that. And then, but actually I think he's in Russia right now. He's on vacation in Russia.
Wow.
He's been sending pictures back. He's never been there, so he's over there, just because he's a big World War II history buff. Yeah. So he has a book. You guys are into fantasy stuff. He has a book called Whargoul. Did you read Whargoul?
I haven't read
what did you think of it?
No, I haven't read it yet. I've been meaning to buy it, but
it's interesting. The whole, the whole Nightbreed Occupy Midian thing. It's kind of like my my GWAR arrest kind of legitimizes me in some weird fashion. But anyway, so what questions you got about Nightbreed?
There's been, I think, over the years, a lot of animosity towards Morgan Creek, and recently you've said that 20th Century Fox was the distributor for the movie, right?
That's correct. Now, the distribution has changed hands. It's now with Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
But they basically, I mean, the thing is, originally, that Morgan Creek gave Clive the money. I mean, Clive made the movie that he wanted with Morgan Creek's money.
Right.
Okay. And I don't think anybody would deny that. Clive wouldn't deny that, et cetera. Now, what happened is when it goes, and Morgan Creek does not have their own distribution. They'll do their distribution through a parent company. Well, it's not really a parent company, but it's a distributor. They'll cut a deal with the distributor so they can get into the theaters. Yeah. And what to my understanding, and the thing is people are going, fuck you, Morgan Creek guy. And I'm going, dude, I didn't work for them in 20 years. I was going to jail with GWAR 20 years ago.
Yeah, and when people say stuff on Occupy Media, I mean, there's like 6,000 people on there, but when people say stuff, we try to kind of nip that in the bud because it's not really fair.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that. I mean, I'm here kind of like after the fact. I'm kind of I'm like I'm trying to clean up the mess. But anyway, so what I saw the film in the theater. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't something that I was just, I was there. And the way the film was cut, I didn't really understand it. And at the time, I wasn't, so a huge Clive Barker fan or anything like that. And just, I barely read, like a magazine or a newspaper, let alone, at the time I was entrenched in music. So that was my world. And, but I did go to see it, and I remember there was a big crowd. Well, anyway, everybody said that it didn't make any money and blah, blah. I mean, I would like to see the numbers. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I'd never be able to see them because if you saw the film like I did, because everybody went out, because of Hellraiser. Everybody went to see the film, and it was some mixed emotions about it. I mean, you didn't have the internet then. People probably, maybe in the UK they knew of Clive's book, but not here. They just went to see it because of the Hellraiser connection. That's kind of the way that I would.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And Hellraiser 2 had just come out.
And in the United States, Cabal had come out in conjunction with the Books of Blood. It was in the third volume of the Books of Blood, there was the little novella called Cabal included there. So it never really got a standalone release, from what I understand.
It was the sixth volume.
Yeah. So there was. So it wasn't. There wasn't the mythology behind it. As there is now. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So when 20th Century Fox got it. And matter of fact, and this is, I'm just connecting the dots years later because I'm all of this stuff is under such strict scrutiny with me now because I need to know every facet of it. What I understood was that 20th Century Fox, when they got it, they didn't understand it. They cut it as more of a slasher film. And the way that I know that it was 20th Century Fox is because there was a box full of film clips recently found in Ohio. Okay, and it was 20th Century Fox because everybody was asking Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers didn't have a clue, and Morgan Creek didn't have a clue. You know who knew? Fox did. That's why they cut it. They were the ones that edited it. And that's why they were the ones that had a catalog and finally figured out. Now everybody gets all excited about the found footage. To my understanding, I don't know what's in. I was sent a list of what exactly is in the box from Russell. Yeah. And there was a couple of never before seen trailers was one thing that was in the box. But as far as the material needed to put the Cabal cut back together in some kind of 35 millimeter fantasy film. That's probably the film is more than likely hasn't been stored correctly and is damaged to the point where I don't think that they could really use it.
Oh, really?
Because
I mean, right now they're just using VHS footage in the DVD, so they've got to be able to. They've got to be able to help at least.
Well, I'm just wondering if I should talk about this right now because this is all in the planning. But I know that Russell has been in conversations with the British Film Institute in regards to that stuff. And the thing is they'll have access to the actual Nightbreed, the original Nightbreed cut.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Is that what Warner Brothers
they'll have access. That's not lost.
Yeah.
You know, because they make DVDs from that. I mean, we got that.
Sure.
Okay. It's not like the film has disappeared. Okay. Because the film itself, the negatives have not disappeared. What is, however, in question is the usability of the clips and the stems and that sort of thing that they and Dave has explained it to David Robinson, the president of Morgan Creek. He's explained to me what those are and what those are available and whether it's going to work or not. That sort of thing. So anyway, but I mean, something that Mark Miller and I discussed. Mm-hmm. Do we think that everybody knows what we're trying to do?
Yeah.
Everybody, if you're an Occupy Median member, or you keep up with Clive, or you read in any of the horror online mags, everybody knows that we're doing everything we can to put it together.
To
and
make
I think
the best possible
whatever the end result is, I think people are going to be forgiving, and we're going to make it as good as we can for their enjoyment.
Well,
that is very reassuring. Yeah.
We also, I mean, you're going to have the original version, and if you think about it, okay, even though the Cabal cut will be the second disc, okay,
sure.
you're going to have the Blu-ray release of Nightbreed, and then you're going to have the Cabal cut in the same box. The movie that y'all all fell in love with is the original cut anyway.
Oh, yeah.
I have a small question about this, if I could just ask it.
Yeah.
Then I'm assuming that at least for the theatrical cut, we will have in the near future a Blu-ray HD transfer.
That's what we're working on.
Yay!
All right. That's great. That's wonderful.
We're working on it. I can't really talk about the details in regards to distribution, but there may even be a possibility limited film release, limited engagement in some theater.
Holy cow!
But that just I said there may. I didn't say there is.
No. If
there may be.
Oh my God! If that happens, I gotta fly to whatever that is.
and actually, we've confirmed for Fantastic Fest in Austin this year.
All right.
So that's in September.
News.
That's at the Alamo Draft House in Austin, Texas.
Okay, so Texas people can
expect to see the Cabal cut.
And Russell told me that I don't know if we've confirmed yet, but we have been invited to Dragon Con.
Oh.
All right.
To screen them.
Wow.
So I don't think I'm overstepping my bounds by saying that, but we were invited. I don't know if, and the last correspondence, I said we need to go ahead and confirm with them and go ahead and get that going. So you do have that,
right?
and there should be a couple of more festivals, but I haven't confirmed. I mean, but those are the solid ones.
Yeah.
All right.
So there's that.
Wow.
But anyway, you were going to ask me. I think you were going to ask me about how I got kind of involved in it.
Yeah.
With the Mad Monster thing.
Yeah. Right,
it was one of the first incarnations of the Cabal cut.
Yeah.
All right.
And I know that Russell still works on it and still is nipping and tucking and that sort of thing, on it. But
and I was there at that Mad Monster party. I might have even met you. I don't know.
Now, but you were there. You saw the screening. There was 400 or 500 people there.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something. The funny thing is you're asking me, well, how at the same time, during that screening, I had Connor McCullough and Addie Miller doing the Ghost Trek makeup exhibition. So I was in there the whole time during the screening, so I didn't even get to come in and say anything and, hey, how are you, or something like that. So because of the scheduling conflict, and I kept saying, and we had no power in the middle of the floor, so we had to run extension cords, and it was just, and then there was a couple hundred people looking on while Connor from Face Off was doing the makeup. So I mean, I really couldn't leave the entire time, and I kept wanting to go back over there, and I didn't, and I didn't even get to see it. But I did talk to Craig Sheffer and Anna Bobby and introduce myself to them.
That's cool.
And did speak with them. And I actually mentioned, I work for Morgan Creek. Now, the thing is, how I got involved with it. Mm-hmm. Evan McGar, who is the con chair, I guess, he's the promoter for Mad Monster. Him and Jomo put that thing together. I had reached out to them because I wanted to screen Ghost Trek, and they weren't real receptive. They said, well, we're not really going to do a film festival, or we've already got all of the movies that we're going to screen, or something like that, And I go, listen, if you blow me off, I'll make sure that all the local filmmakers won't support your convention. I mean, I just, and so he give me your phone number. I need to talk to you. So he called me back, and he goes, "Oh, don't post stuff like that on Facebook because we don't want any negative publicity. We want to help you. We want to help you." And I said, "Well, maybe we can help each other." And I said, I mean, I'm not just some yo-yo. I mean, I consult with Morgan Creek. He said, Morgan Creeks with an S. There's Morgan Creeks. Well, Clive's people need a release from them so they can show their film, so they can show this Cabal cut thing. Yeah. They said they've been trying for a couple months and they're falling on deaf ears and don't get in touch with the right person or whatever. I said, that phone call take me 5 minutes. So I called Dave and I said, listen, remember the Milt movie that you guys made, Nightbreed, Clive Barker, back about 20 years ago? Vaguely.
Oh my God! I can't believe it.
Well, but Dave's younger than me. I mean, Dave is 42, 43 years old. I mean, he's not. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he was in college when I'm saying I mean, his dad was James Robinson ran Morgan Creek. Dave's now running Morgan Creek.
I know, we're biased because we are Clive Barker fans, of course. The majority of the people they don't have to know. So, but I understand.
Yeah, because, Nightbreed.
Just one of their movies.
So anyway, so I said, this thing, there's a little movement behind this thing, and they might be able to do something with it. And he goes, well, yeah, well, let me look into it. I'll give it to them, sure. Mm-hmm. And so then they put everybody in touch with each other. Eben put Mark and them in touch with, this is who you need to talk to. I sent the email to Eben, and I CC'd him, and then he CC'd Mark, and then Mark got with Dave, and then they ended up getting got the whole ball of wax rolling.
Yeah.
And so that's how that happened. That was just a fluke kind of phone call that Evan from Mad Monster made to me, that I ended up, we ended up working something out. And then Ghost Trek, I mean, we had a huge exhibition, and I brought in, with Addie Miller from The Walking Dead. We had Connor's thing. We had a couple hundred people there to see the screening. My short Psychic Brats that we screened before Ghost Trek won Viewer's Choice Award there at Mad Monsters. So that was pretty cool. But anyway, awesome. So that's basically how that happened.
So you're kind of the ambassador to Nightbreed for Morgan Creek now.
Well, yeah, it was just, that's just how it kind of happened, and so Dave and I, we talked a little bit more, and then I ended up getting a Dave. I guess this is probably about two months later. He sends me. He says, "Listen, I want you to look at this Nightbreed television pitch.
Yeah.
I said, well, okay.
That's really
interesting. All right, so he says it's got. So the writer's name was a guy named Matthew Venn, who had written it up. Wrote the. It was like a 5-page Word doc, and Matthew had met with Clive a few times. They'd been introduced to Clive's agent, because I think Clive's agent represents Matthew Venn. And so they had come up with some ideas for a television series. And Dave sent it to me, and the thing is a lot of the Hollywood people. I mean, they're not really, they don't know all of the intricacies of these the art, quote unquote art aspects of their properties and things like that. They're not. It's not like they're huge. They're not going to read any of Clive's books or that sort of thing. It's just not their world.
Right.
Sure.
So when he said it to me, because I can make heads or tails of it. Tell me what this is.
Yeah.
So I looked at it, and there was a solid storyline in there.
Mm-hmm.
There was a solid storyline in there. But it had a bunch of stuff that it didn't need. It had some minutia that it didn't really need in order, because when you're trying to pitch something to television people, they want to know a couple of things. They want to know what the story's about. They want to know the episode description. They want to see if you've got any kind of artwork or concept drawings or anything like that. That's what they want to. They want to know how much. How much is it going to cost per episode?
Yeah.
They want to know, who is the target market. Mm-hmm. They want to know why this makes sense for television. That's what they want to know. They don't want to know that Shunda Sazi was a prostitute at the Rough House. They don't really need to know that.
Sure.
They need to know. They need to see an attractive lead. They need to say what's the big time showrunner you got on the show. Those are questions that they ask.
Yeah, and if it's something based on a movie, if there's still enough brand recognition from the fans to make it work or something, right?
And right now,
of course.
Right now because of the Cabal cut, there's more.
Yeah, well, the Cabal cut is really has been a wonderful springboard, for a television project. So anyway, so back to the thing. Well, so I went back and I looked at the thing, and Dave says, he goes, well, you brought me this thing, even though it was their property. He goes, you brought me this thing. You brought it to me, maybe we'll get you under contract and we'll, see if you can do something with it.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Because they were working on the Exorcist television show. That's what they were working on, and I kind of wanted to get on that. But then there was that was kind of like he's partners with Roy Lee on that, and that's some more inside stuff. Roy Lee, who's just now, who's produced The Departed, The Ring, Quarantine.
Oh, okay.
And Roy Lee just did the Bates Motel thing for A&E. Okay, so Roy Lee so they're doing that. So anyway, so the Nightbreed thing. So I went back and basically rewrote the entire pitch package, and started inserting some nice artwork, that sort of thing, but I was really trying to get a lot of this stuff going, and I wasn't really under any particular directives, and my contract was performance based, and everything in Hollywood moves very, very slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think, I mean, it takes people years. The company Think Factory Media that I was under contract with for Ghost Trek on a 6-month contract to see if they could do anything, and it never even got pitched to anybody. It took Leslie Grice. It took him 25 years to get Hatfields and McCoys made. I mean, they had. I mean, people, it was funny because they were like going through it. They had Tom Selleck attached to it at one time. They had Dennis Quaid.
Wow.
I'm saying that over the years, and then they ended up getting Kevin Costner, and it got made. So, I mean, if that's any indication of how long some projects take, and you got to find placement, and you got to put it together, and you got to get them, get interest, and you got to get the money, and that sort of thing. So, I mean, and here I was an indie guy trying to stir up interest for Ghost Trek, and then all of a sudden here's this project. So I mean, I really switched a lot of my energy towards Nightbreed because Nightbreed obviously has a bigger fan base than I do. I'm just this guy who's a guy from North Carolina, with a bunch of good ideas and no money.
But when people badmouth Morgan Creek, I try to remind them, look at what's happening right now, and you can't. I mean, without Morgan Creek's support, we never could have gotten this far. And
but I mean, a lot of that. I mean, that really came. This is, let me tell you, even to go even further back, how I got involved with Morgan Creek. As my music in my music days, I made a number of friends, and one of my good friends is a guy named Mark Bryan. He plays guitar for Hootie and the Blowfish, and he was the one that introduced me to Dave Robinson and Morgan Creek a couple years ago.
Wow!
So and so it's funny because I had contacted Morgan Creek. I was introduced. And it's just a really funny story. And I, Mark said, "This is a good guy. He's got this thing, Ghost Trek. He wants to talk to you about it, etc." And so I talked to Dave. He said, "Yeah, he wanted to take a look at it." Then I sent the whole package, to Morgan Creek, and then I didn't hear a word for like 3 months. And I was going, well, I guess he didn't like it. He didn't like it. And then I get a phone call back, and he goes, hey man, I get a phone call from the 310 number. And I say, hey man, I thought you were going to send me that package. I said, dude, where have you been? I mean, you didn't talk to me for 4 months. He said, I was in England finishing Dream House with Daniel Craig and Rachel Weisz.
Oh, I see.
And and then he as soon as he got back, he called me, and which was really, and so we've had this kind of relationship, since then. And so I was actually kind of going, I was going with Ghost Trek to all of these horror conventions and things at, Friday Night Film Fest and wherever I was going, and and so I ended up reading that they got The Thing, the movie The Thing.
Mm-hmm.
The prequel, and they had the international distribution on it, and we were partnering with Universal, so they put in some money and what have you. So he's going, so how do you think how do you think The Thing's going to do? And I said, well, I want to see it,
Yeah.
But has anybody called John Carpenter? Because what I've read, it's an ode to the Carpenter film, which was based on, the original The Goes There novel and the original film with James Arness playing the big carrot-headed monster.
Sure.
Carrot-headed. So I said, well, has anybody called John Carpenter? And he says, why?
Oh.
I said, well, because it's basically, a ode to Carpenter's movie, and you should probably call Carpenter and get him to sing to all of the horror websites that it's a great companion piece and he loved it.
Yeah.
Get it prearranged.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, well, that's interesting. I said, why? Well, I mean, that's just like a no-brainer. You always get the guy. Like, remember when Interview with the Vampire came out?
Sure,
and when before Anne Rice said, I can't believe they picked Tom Cruise. She was raising all sorts of hell about it.
Yeah.
And then when we went to see the movie, it had this vignette in the beginning that says, I think that she's Anne Rice. Hello, I am author of Interview with the Vampire, Anne Rice. I just want to say that Tom Cruise did a wonderful job. You're reading the cue card.
Yeah.
I think Tom Cruise did a wonderful job at playing Lestat and Butler. So basically, they had to throw some money at her to get her to sing Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And so that's basically what I was saying to John Carpenter. Mm-hmm. So supposedly that he went to Universal, and it fell on deaf ears. And I mean, because they had just remade The Fog.
Right.
I did not
remember,
see it.
Yeah.
I still have not seen it because I heard it was abysmal.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It was that one with Frank Darabont did that movie, I think, right? Or wrote it? I think so. I haven't seen
Darabont
it yet.
did the Fog. Well, anyway, that movie with Carpenter's name on it made money. So that's basically what I was kind of gauging. Well, if you're going to do the thing, then you need to get Carpenter in there somewhere. Mm-hmm. Carpenter's producer, executive producer, something, or pay him some money to help promote the film. And nobody did. And the movie didn't do very well. But everybody, and then John Mayberry, I don't know if you're familiar with the author, Jonathan Mayberry. He's a 2-time Stoker Award winner. He's also a New York Times bestseller. He does the Joe Ledger novels and Rotten Ruin, and he wrote the Wolfman book for Universal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
the one they did the movie on.
Check out. And John writes for Marvel. He's written the Punisher series, Marvel Zombies, Black Panther. He's written a lot of stuff for Marvel. And actually, in the comic reboot, I've talked to John about the Nightbreed comic reboot. So hopefully we can get that worked out.
Oh yeah, that'd be wonderful.
Well, we got all sorts of. We got our fingers in a lot of pies.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So anyway, but it was my knowledge, of what's going on in the horror, sci-fi genres, is really that has been my contribution to Morgan Creek, and plus I'm a creative guy,
mm-hmm.
So that's in the indie world you've got to wear a lot of hats. I'm not one of these technical people. I'm not, you will probably never see me in a photograph looking through the viewfinder of the camera. You know what I'm saying? These guys, it's like I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. I'm a writer. I can direct. I don't say I'm a director.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? But I mean, first and foremost, I'm a writer, and I'm a creative guy. That's basically what I like to do. And you could, with Nightbreed, God, think about all of the directions you can go to. And Jose and I have talked about some of the stuff. Jose, would you like to comment or
Absolutely. I'll comment as vaguely as I can without revealing anything. But I can say that I've seen some of the artwork that you have in store for the fans, and as creations for the show. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty mind-blowing. I think anybody who's a fan of Nightbreed is going to be very happy, very satisfied with what's coming. I love it. I've seen some artwork, and it's just amazing. I've seen a few characters who are going to return, and some of them have been slightly redesigned. It's just amazing. I'm very, very happy with what I've been shown, and it's very, very I'm absolutely 100% satisfied. I'm really hoping for a chance when this goes out into the public that we can talk about this some more, because I have so much I want to say about this, but I can't spoil anything right now. So, thanks for showing me that stuff. It's really, really amazing. I'm really happy with it.
Okay, that you heard that from. See, it's one thing to have to toot your own horn, but somebody else toots your horn. That's better.
Yeah.
And amazingly, throughout my career, I've had to toot my own horn. So much is just wonderful to have other people, say that something's good without having to do it yourself.
Absolutely. I mean, geez, the big surprise.
Well, we got a great. We've been working. I've been working with Mark Miller, who has been just fantastic. The thing is, it was my idea to reach out to Clive and to reach out to Mark Miller and Russell, and for us to work closely together on this thing. Mm-hmm. And matter of fact, I had originally we kind of. David and I had kind of talked about it a little bit, and I said, well, I think that we should include them because the notoriety that the Cabal cut was getting, then it would behoove us to all work together and be the champion for this thing. And as a matter of fact, that's what Mark Miller, said, and it embarrasses me, and whenever people compliment me, it embarrasses me. And Mark says, before you showed up, in the email recently, before you showed up to champion Nightbreed, I'm going, that just feels good. It just feels good that somebody recognizes.
Well, that's such a simple idea to work with Clive Barker and Mark Miller, but it's so, look what happened to Hellraiser. Yeah, it's such a powerful, it's such a good idea.
Well, a lot of it, the thing is I just read recently that Tim Burton was going to reboot Beetlejuice, was going to have a Beetlejuice 2.
Oh, good heavens.
And the guy that wrote Dark Shadows, this was an article that came out in 2000, mid-2012, like May 2012, on Bloody Disgusting or something. Mm-hmm. And I was reading it, some of this Tim Burton is going to reboot to Beetlejuice 2, and the guy that wrote Dark Shadows was going to submit a treatment or submit a script or what have you. And I think that, and this was before Dark Shadows was released. So I don't know if it was because Dark Shadows didn't really do the numbers they thought it was going to.
No. I saw the movie.
Yeah. But I'm just seeing, something like that, in comparison to kind of what we're doing. He's going to hand it over to another guy to see what he can come up with. That's basically kind of thing. And so I want to do that, but obviously, see, the thing is once I have kind of laid the this foundation or what have you, when a showrunner comes on, if he's a big rock star showrunner, then half of my stuff might get thrown out of the window, So there's always that apprehension. But I think that, the storyline that we followed was based on the Matthew Venn original pitch, which was based on information that Matthew got from Clive. Then I went back, changed some stuff, and added in a character and gave some characters some names, and basically, gave the town a name and. Where it takes place and everything. And the more that I looked at it, the more I kind of sat back and examined it, it actually looks a lot like the movie. It was almost like it was kind of just basically making the movie over in an episodic, I think I've got 11 episodes, 12 episodes, whatever. In a fashion to where there's so many similarities from the movie and the storyline in a sense.
Sure.
But I can't really go into that too much.
Sure. Well, if there's anything that Occupy Midian can do to help promote this, we'd be
absolutely.
We would love to be a part of it and to
Well, there's been. You guys have done such a wonderful job. With helping this thing along. The problem that I think that I kind of stumble over is, and with the petitions and all that, I think that helps for the sale and the raise consciousness for the for the film, and if there's a pre-order, I think that you could probably get through some numbers. But I mean, people will sign a petition, but that doesn't mean every one of them is going to buy a copy.
Oh, yeah.
So,
right.
So
sure.
it's kind of like you have an event, and you say, and I've done it on Facebook. You have an event, and 1,000 people say they're going to show up, and then 300 show up. So there's always that, and that's why. When it is re-released on DVD or what have you, that it really needs to be done with somebody, that, and I can't really talk into specifics too much, but somebody that really knows how to market this sort of thing,
Absolutely.
But I think that you guys have under foundation down for us. So.
Yeah, someone who can actually promote it with a commercial strategy and has some money into the promotion and the campaign. That's it. Of course, it's going to be necessary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly. But it also have to be people that understand, genre films.
Yeah.
It can't, you know what I'm saying? It just can't. I mean, it can't be somebody that's just gonna, just put it on the shelf somewhere in Walmart, and then that's gonna be it. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be somebody that understands the fan. It's got to be somebody that is a fan. I think. Yeah. Because otherwise, luckily, I mean, I'm not even going to go there. But anyway, but we have high hopes for a release. Hopefully by the end of the year. Hopefully by the end.
That would be good news. That would be amazing.
That'd be fantastic. Let's hope for the best.
Yeah. Well, and even after the film is released, Occupy Midian is still here. So,
absolutely.
We're looking for things to help sort of champion like you do.
Yeah, well, the new page may be Occupy Antioch.
Antioch. That sounds like a name of a city. Let's give it a few more. Yeah. Let's give it a few more weeks and see what comes out of that word.
Yeah.
So we'll always be here, and we will always be promoting this and anything that's related to Clive Barker or Nightbreed or even other things from that are related to that universe. So it'll be our pleasure to promote it as much as we can. It's just a springboard for an actual commercial campaign, but it's a springboard that will help a lot, I guess, when the time comes.
Yeah, I mean,
was there anything you guys wanted to ask specifically that I didn't answer?
Well, so I guess you already answered it pretty much. I mean, so Morgan Creek is actually aware of what this movement is doing, and they're happy with it, right?
Oh, well, absolutely. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, the strategy that we talked about, this was 6 months ago. We were talking about, I said that everything that we can do for Nightbreed, we can do on the net. I mean, in early on.
Yeah.
I mean, just to create enthusiasm and to get to the fans, etc. And I think Clive is really up the bar in regards to his communicating on the internet, on Twitter, and on Facebook,
definitely.
etc. And I think that has really been a big help. I think that with the Occupy Midian website, also with the Occupy Midian fan page, what would be great is if you guys, I mean, not a fan page, but you have a group page. It's almost like you don't want to start over with the fan page so more people could, because I guess it's just as easy to be a part of the group.
Well, there is a fan page also. It just doesn't have as much, that came along a little later, and it doesn't have as much pull, I guess.
Yeah, but we can start promoting it a little more. Sure, yeah.
But just you guys, knowledge about the subject, about Nightbreed and the novella and just Clive's work, etc. I mean, and I've talked to Jose from time to time and about some things, and we certainly don't mean to leave you out or anything. This is just kind of something that just kind of happened, just because I had a worry that the purists wouldn't grasp what we were trying to do.
Oh, I see.
Because we were updating some of the characters and the makeups and some of the concept art and that sort of thing. And I wanted I didn't want to not understand or not know some of the facets that I may have kind of overlooked or what have you, and I wanted to make sure that so I kind of reached out to Jose to look at some stuff, and and he was, what was the one time you said, wait a minute, then when I sent you the one JPEG, you said, wait a minute, let me take my jaw off the floor.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
We were actually in the middle of recording our last podcast when that came through, so I didn't see it, but he's like, oh my God.
Yeah, I completely.
That's rude, dude. How could you do that to your boy?
Yeah, and another thing I said, I think, was let me just chase the cat because he got my tongue. So it was some pretty amazing stuff, and I'm very happy with all the directions that the pitch package is going. And one of the things that immediately comes to mind is how much detail is in everything, and how much it is a coherent world, a coherent story premise that can go. There's so many places where this can go. And I know that things sometimes change. They go through different iterations and they go through different rewrites. But so far, what I've seen is just really brilliant, amazing. I'm really, really hoping that everything works out for the project of the TV show.
Well, sometimes it takes one guy to look at another guy's stuff and say, well, let's do this. Let's maybe try this a little bit, see what this looks like. And then like, okay, and I cannot, and the artwork that you're talking about was done by Tate Steinsiak. Tate has illwilled.com, illwilled.com. He's a makeup artist. He appeared actually with Connor McCullough, who I did do some work with. Haven't spoken to Connor in a while. But Tate was the runner-up. He did the werewolf on season 1. He did the big werewolf in the finale of Face Off season 1. But Tate has worked on Amazing Spider-Man. Tate was doing some work for V. Neal after Face Off, and now he's got his own production company, and he is actually designing some of the figurines for Clive's Collectibles. Mark Miller introduced me to Tate. So that's how that happened.
Oh wow!
So, like I said, I mean, I'm working, and Tate is in love with Nightbreed. He was a Nightbreed fan before. I mean, it wasn't like, hey, do you want to do this stuff? It was Tate was the one that came to them and said, I want to do this stuff because I know it inside and out. So see, that helps. And matter of fact, though, did you? All right, we're throwing the bone. Ready for throwing the bone.
All right.
When you saw Jose, when you saw the redesign of Pelican, it wasn't that different.
I saw hang on. I saw the redesign of a female character.
Okay, but you didn't see I didn't send you Pelican?
No, I didn't see Pelican yet.
All right, you guys.
Okay, and now I'm getting excited again because I didn't know Pelican would be in the pitch package, so I'm just getting all worked up. You sent me one of the old redesigned characters was a female character. I'm not going to say the name. That was the one I saw.
Okay. All right. I thought you saw Pelican. I didn't see Pelican. Well, okay. Well, the cat's out of the bag now.
All right.
Oh man, you guys.
Right. So anyway, yes, the Pelican is Pelican is going to be badass.
Oh. Boy.
I mean he's going to be a badass.
Whew. All right.
He's going to be big and bad.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I can't wait for when this comes out and it starts leaking out into the proper channels, and you're going to get fans jumping up and down the walls. You're going to get fans going like, this is going to be awesome. You're going to have everybody waiting to see this. I guarantee it. It's going to be great.
Well, I think, because I see the stuff. I got to keep up with, who's getting signed up, who's got which producer's got a series going here or there or what have you. And really, it's probably the most original, but still it's based, and there's a familiar aspect to it because people know the character. It's just kind of like revisiting, even though it is kind of a cult film. The Nightbreed is a cult film, I guess. It kind of qualifies as a cult film, very much like David Lynch's Dune is like a cult film.
Sure.
Yeah.
I really think that it's just original and it's time for it. That's what everybody said. 20 years ago, they didn't want people to associate like the monsters with the good guys, kind of thing. But when you when you examine it, though, I think that it was the original film. I think it was trying. I thought it maybe was trying to do too much. It was overly expansive, and it was trying to simplify something that's relatively expansive. You know what I'm saying? It was just difficult for I think really for any if you weren't a total Clive Barker fan and read the novels, etc. The average guy is going to be lost. I agree. I don't know what.
I agree. For example, there were characters in the movie that you only get their names in the credits, and you're watching the movie and you're like, hey, this guy with a moon-shaped head is really cool. I don't really know his name, and then it's in the credits, but where was he introduced in the movie? He wasn't. So, and there was so many
in the Cabal cut.
Yeah, and there were like 200 different breed characters in the background that were created by Image Animation, and
even like Leroy Gobb and Lude, who have lines.
We don't even know their names until the credits. So it's like it was really too much stuff to include in a single movie. So that's why I think, for example, a TV show has a lot more room for character development. So yeah.
Yeah. And you have an opportunity for it to be episodic and for it to be multiple seasons and that sort of thing. So,
well, you look at shows like The Walking Dead. It's like now it's kind of a television is so different now.
Yeah. Another show, Banshee, is actually the model that if you've watched this, is on Cinemax. It's just like probably about the fourth episode. That's shot in Charlotte, North Carolina, where they also filmed Homeland.
Oh.
Okay.
But the thing is television is changing, and everybody. Okay, something that happened recently. Somebody was saying, I can't remember what it was. Something debuted on network TV, and they only had 10 million viewers. And they were complaining that only 10 million people had tuned in, and I'm trying to remember what show it was. It's something that just debuted and didn't have, And I was thinking to myself, you people, you're not taking into account. People aren't watching network TV anymore. They're watching cable. Okay, they're watching movies and watching content from Hulu and Hulu Plus and Netflix on their phone.
Yeah, and iTunes.
In iTunes. Yeah. And so when you go, we only had 10 million, you should be happy with you getting 10 million people.
Yeah.
Because nobody's watching NBC anymore. Nobody's watching CBS in the same fashion as they would have been 10 years ago to watch Survivor, and you had 22 million people watching Survivor.
And they rely on those Nielsen things to get those numbers.
Yeah, well, anyway, regardless, the point is now it's different for cable because cable, the magic number is 1.5 million. 1 million, 1.5 million. You get 1.5 million. You're going to get renewed if you got 1.5 million viewers. I think that Clive Barker's Nightbreed television show could get 1.5 million viewers on cable.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I think that we can do that. It's just going to depend on where we go with it
Yeah.
And and then who you have attached to it is how it works. But things are doing well. And listen, I'm going to have to jump, but I certainly appreciate you guys having me on.
Okay, we'll put links to Ghost Trek on the show notes as well.
So you like Addie Miller? I mean, she's actually in many ways more frightening than the little zombie girl, I think. Maybe it didn't really in the pictures. Not really. It doesn't. That was based on the whole John Benet Ramsey case. Y'all know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, our tagline was paranormal research with the tagline that I wrote, paranormal research with an emphasis on bad taste. So I figured the worst thing that I could choose was the John Benet Ramsey case.
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
Yeah.
Scary Carrie was pretty impressive. Yeah, she was.
People like Scary Carrie, man. They just love that character.
But now there's a second episode following the Kinsey report. This was just the pilot.
But that was the pilot, and since we got so much good press, I mean, FearNet never writes indie stuff up, and they do sometimes. But I ended up getting the attention of one of the FearNet writers because one of my influences was the Venture Brothers. And I wanted to kind of do a ghost go like the Venture Brothers, if that makes sense. Yeah, and so we got Famous Monsters of Filmland wrote it up, and FearNet, and the Horror Society, and the Horror News, and everybody wrote it up, and then we had they boasted 3 million viewers or 3 million visits to the website on Dread Central, and I'm not saying that 3 million watched it, but 3 million people easily saw it they had that flash banner at the top, Ghost Trek.
Yeah.
So people know what it is. It's out there.
That's
and I thought, I need some new material. So, but I'm kind of filming it on a shoestring, just because I probably spent too much money on the first one, which was in probably. Altogether, probably maybe $40,000.
Oh my gosh!
Well, I mean, it was 20 with the production, and then there was that. There was the post production, and there was going out promoting it, and how much money we spent, and giving out DVDs and free T-shirts and all that stuff to stir it up.
Wow.
So, but interestingly, that's how just the presentation packages that I had put together and the makeup exhibitions and all that stuff, that's basically kind of how, and Dave Robinson and Morgan Creek had seen all my stuff, and so, that's how I ended up kind of getting on Nightbreed as the creative consultant. And I'm under contract with Morgan Creek on that. I'm really the only person under contract on Nightbreed right now. So. Yeah,
and Psychic Rats, is that online somewhere? Is that on Funny or Die?
Yeah, but they'll post. You can actually. I had it up on Funny or Die, and then I did it last year, and then I took it down. I had almost 2,000 views on Funny or Die, and then I took it down, and then I reposted it. But actually, a portion of Psychic Rats is going to be in the new Ghost Trek episode. The new Ghost Trek episode we're finishing shooting next Thursday. It's called Ghost Trek Goombah Body Snatchers Mortuary Lockdown and Panel Show.
Okay, and that's going to be featured in Mad Monster this year, right?
That's correct. We're playing it at Mad Monster March the 23rd. It's Saturday, March the 23rd. I think the time is 7 or 8 o'clock. It's just right after the main room is closed. Is when we're going to have the screening. And let me say this, another thing I'm doing at Mad Monster, I haven't even discussed this. My dad made a sexploitation film called Night of the Cat.
Night of the Cat.
It's on something, Night of the Cat. He made it, and it was released in 1973. The 40th anniversary of Night of the Cat's release is coming up this March, and so I decided to screen it at Mad Monster Party on March 22nd. So I'm going to be there with Night of the Cat on March 22nd, and March 23rd I'll have Ghost Trek early on in the evening. That's going to be 8. Ooh. But the Night of the Cat screening is going to be at midnight. It stars Nick Dennis from Spartacus, the Morgana, the Kissing Bandit, and a bunch of other people you never heard of.
And it was shot in Charlotte, North Carolina, too, right?
It was shot in Charlotte, North Carolina, in its environs in 1972 and released in 1973. It originally was given an X rating, and what we'll be showing is the R-rated version, but we're going to do an 18+ only. But I mean, it's really not that. It's not any more raunchy than anything that you'd see on TV now.
Yeah.
But it's in one of those. It's one of those films that fits in the so bad it's good category.
Absolutely. We'll add a link to Something Weird video because I just found it there. Night of the Cats.
Night of the Cat. Yes.
Yeah. All right. And we'll also add a link to your Amazon book. Because to promote this, because it sounds like it's going to be a really funny read. I might get it too this week. So
well, and I'm a big GWAR fan, so I'm
actually I just found out today. I'm right now in two top 25, one top 20 list under punk rock books on Kindle. It's in the top 20, and under metal, it's at 24. So that was pretty cool. I just happened to kind of fall on that today. Now the thing is I'm always wondering where the money goes. That's the thing. Whenever you release something online, you don't know how many units are being sold. I mean, unless you go and order. You have a right to have in a court order that you can order someone to show the numbers, et cetera, to do an accounting. Because they're basically a trustee with your intellectual property. But I probably haven't seen. It's been years since I've seen I'll get a what do you call it? A royalty check, for about $70.
Oh boy.
I have no idea what's being sold, who's selling it, who's getting paid, because it ain't me.
Okay, well, we'll still put a link to it anyway.
No, that's fine, because as long as it promotes me, I'm happy. I like me. Me is cool.
Yeah.
and Mad Monster Party, too. I mean, although I'm sure people in Charlotte already know about it, but we'll put a link to that, too.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And Mad Monster they just announced that they'll be having a Mad Monster Party in New Orleans this September. Okay.
Anyway,
all right, fellas. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, thank you very much for taking the time to join us and all the cool stuff that you reveal in the interview. And thanks again for all the work you've been doing with Morgan Creek for the Cabal Cut.
Yeah, this is great. Awesome. So this was episode 31 of the Clive Barker podcast, an interview with Michael Plumides again from Morgan Creek and author of the book Kill the Music. You can reach us on the web at www.clivebarkercast.com. This podcast is on iTunes, so if you're in there, if you could leave us a review, that would be awesome. On Facebook, we have a fan page, and also we're very active and admins for the group Occupy Midian. So you can find us there often. On Twitter, we're at BarkerCast and at Occupy Midian, and the forum is www.timewinds.com/Clive/forum, and the official website for Occupy Midian is www.occupymidian.com. Michael Plumides on Twitter, if you want to follow him, he's got a Twitter account for at Ghost Trek TV, GHOSTTREK TV, and so that's it, and have a good weekend, or evening, or whenever it is that you're listening to this.
Hello, this is Ryan again. In the original airing of this episode, we had the song The Morality Squad by GWAR right here. In order to respect the rights holders, we have removed it from this episode. I recommend that you find The Morality Squad by GWAR. It's on the album America Must Be Destroyed. And give it a listen. Thanks for understanding. And this podcast, having no beginning, will have no end.